welcome back to another video on analytics functions in SQL. In this video, we will be covering ratio to report function as well as partition by clause. The problem statement in this case asks us to display details like funding source, builder ID, prison ID, actual cost, and the ratio of funding done on the particular project by particular funding source. The prisons we will be displaying should be either funded by AIB Finance and Leasing, ACT Venture Capital, or KEB Ireland, and we need to sort the data by funding source. Starting the video with the basic data that we will be working on to just give you a glimpse of the data. These are the four columns that we will be dealing with throughout the code, and we will introduce one another column using the ratio to report function that will be later on displayed. Going back, here we will be adding our where clause where we will be filtering out the funding source one out of the three, AIB Finance and Leasing, ACT Venture Capital, and KEB Ireland, and we will order the data by funding source. We have the solution to our problem statement. Here we can see we have used both the ratio to report and partition by clause. Both of them hold their significance and we require them together to solve this problem statement. So let me introduce to these concept one by one. First we will see ratio to report function without partition by clause, and then we will see ratio to report function with partition clause and what is the difference in between. So firstly, what is a ratio? Ratio is simply division of a value by sum of its corresponding values. Like in this case we are removing ratio of actual cost. So for the first row it will be a ratio of 300 divided by all of the actual cost combined. So we will get the ratio of 0.25, and we got a ratio. Yeah, that's great. But wait a second. We need the ratio of funding done by particular funding source on a particular project, and in this case we can see that while removing the ratio of source 1 we have considered all of the values including 1 from source 2. So to resolve this, we need to divide the whole dataset into parts while using analytic function, and this can be achieved by using partition clause. Here, when we put partition by funding source, it divides our dataset into different parts based on funding source. This will, like in this case, this will be part 1 for funding source 1, and this will be part 2 for funding source 2. So this is why partition by clause is important. In this case, we can see that while removing ratio for 300, the first row, the ratio is 0.03, which is different from the first example because it has considered only the actual cost of this while dividing this value from funding source 1. So it basically divides the data set into different parts based on the parameter or attribute that we provide it to it. So this is how the both of these functions are required together. Now going forward, you can see there's a one new line that has been used in our query. It is called as break setting. Now what does this line does? It simply skips the line after every funding source, and it makes our output more presentable. But make sure when you are completed with your query, you clear this break setting like I have done here. So let's move ahead and check the results of our query. So as we expected, we have achieved ratio of different projects funded by different funding sources, and how much a funding source has funded on a particular project. So our desired output is achieved, and this is how we can use ratio to report and fund partition by clause. Thank you.